So much has happened in the last year. I won my first track race in 4 years. I competed at the Olympic trials. I went to Trail Running Worlds. We moved to Boulder. I switched sponsors, ran my first half marathon, and now I'm training for a 10K. We have a lot to catch up on. So I asked you all to send in your most burning questions, and today I will be going through all of them in as much detail as I can without, I don't know, having this be 7 hours long, because I could yap for that long. I really could. I've got all the questions written down, and let's get right into it. I'm gonna start with running questions, then go into some relationship questions, nutrition, personal questions, more running, and then some about my younger self and Georgie, of course. Start with the running questions. First up, what do you do with all the gear from old sponsors? I ran at Boise State, got a ton of gear from them, then ran for Brooks, then ran for Normal. Now I'm with Oiselle, and along the way I've been on a few US teams, so I got a ton of gear for that too. A lot of the old gear I donate, but I do always keep some of it. I always keep my uniforms and then my couple favorite things. I keep them in the back of my closet for someday when I'm not sponsored by anyone, and I can just have those to wear and also for the memories of it. Next up, do you want to keep racing the 10K? And will you ever go back to the steeplechase? Now everyone, you're being a little dramatic. Will I ever go back to the steeplechase? I have barely been gone 6 months. Obviously I'm going back. You know how much fun I had with it last year. I'm racing a 10K now, and yeah, depending on how it goes, maybe I'll do more. Do have a long-term plan, and the long-term plan involves me racing a lot of steeplechase. So hopefully that all comes to fruition, because I'm not ready to let it go. Bouncing off that question, would you consider training for the 2028 Olympics? Yes, obviously. The 2028 Olympics are always in the back of my mind, and a lot of what I'm doing now is building towards that. But obviously the Olympics only come every 4 years, so I have a lot of other goals along the way, but I do hope to be at the 2028 Olympic trials. Most embarrassing running story. My first ever practice at Boise State as a team, it was 105 degrees. First time I'd ever gone onto the foothills trails in Boise. When I was in high school, I had this mentality that I needed to run 7-minute pace on every single easy run. When I got to college, I still had that mentality. At the beginning of practice, everyone starts out on a run. It's really hot. It's also a hilly route, so people are going slower. So of course, me being so anal and such an annoying little freshman was I have to run faster. So I just took off and left everyone behind and started running 7-minute pace uphill on a hot day. I was basically threshold effort, and I had never run this route before. So then I'm trying to run back to the school, and keep in mind, this is how I'm breathing on an easy run. So I'm trying to get back to the school, and I can't find it because I don't know how to get back. I'm lost. I'm wandering around town. I'm delusional. So I have to hitchhike back to practice. And then when I get there, we're supposed to do strides. I can't run in a straight line because I'm dehydrated and overheated. So my coach had to sit me down and talk to me about not going so hard on easy days and potentially the dangers of hitchhiking. That was my first impression at Boise State. Young Allie, wasn't she a hoot? What was the lowest point in your career? This is very easy for me. It was definitely when I went to eating disorder treatment, then got a femoral neck stress fracture, out for 16 weeks, left the Brooks Beast Track Club, had no idea what I was doing with my life, was injured, not running, didn't know if I'd keep running professionally, had no contract, no source of income, no job options. Yeah, that was a pretty stressful time for me. Does it stress you out to do races with only a few weeks to train? This one's coming up because in the last video I said it's crunch time. Because it is. It's crunch time training for this 10K. Having a few weeks is a little bit stressful, but I get less stressed, especially because this is my season opener. I would love to do well, crush the 10K, and switch events to the 10K. But it's not my plan to be the absolute best possible version of myself in late March. And so I'm not putting as much pressure on myself to peak for this. And it's more of a building block to get ready for the rest of the season. So while I only have a few weeks until this race, it's not that's actually the race that's the focus of my year. What is your least favorite workout? I don't have one because it just completely depends on where I'm at in training. Like right now, speed work is not that fun because I'm not sharp, but when I am sharp, speed work is so fun. But I'd say that one workout I definitely have a love-hate relationship with is hills, just because they're not like gratifying and super exciting the way a track workout is, but they are just as hard and painful. So hills maybe. Last running question for now. Are you able to do the same runs and workouts in Boulder as you were in Seattle, or what's the difference? I would say that in general, runs in Boulder are a little bit slower than they had been in Seattle. Most of my workouts have been pretty similar with paces, but I did notice with the half marathon, when I'm doing more longer extended efforts, my paces are a little bit slower here. Another big difference is that most of my runs in Boulder are pretty hilly, whereas a lot of the runs in Seattle were very flat. And now we're inviting a special guest for the relationship questions part of this video. Come join me up here in the spotlight in the hot seat.
I feel very uncomfortable.
First question is, how did you two meet? Spencer moved to Seattle to be on the Beasts. I was already on the Beasts, but the team wasn't meeting for practice, and it was very smoky out, so Spencer came over to use my stationary bike, and then he pretended to enjoy cross-training and biked with me for like 2 hours a day for a week, and then we hung out every day for a year after that.
What am I needed here for?
Are there more details that you would add?
Yeah, we met. It was a nice little story that you told, and that's that.
Okay, next question. I'll let you start with this one so you feel purposeful in you being here. Who has more aura, you or Spencer?
I mean, it's me. It's not even close. Like, I'm cool. That's the thing. Like,
you act like I'm not cool. I got a 4.0 in college. What could be more cool?
a 2.8.
Okay, we actually had this conversation the other day. Spencer insists he has more aura. I think I have more aura. Actually, I can't even lie. You do have more aura.
I think I have aura, but I also think I make fun of myself on my YouTube channel and this YouTube channel, so it shows like I don't, but you gotta meet me IRL.
What people don't understand is that Spencer actually, when he's like in a group setting, he does carry like the entire conversation and vibe. So in that way, you definitely have aura. When did you and Spencer first move in together, and was it hard?
I guess we moved in maybe 1.5 years or 2 years after we were talking and dating, but we had roommates, so the official like us just living together 7 to 8 months ago, but we've been living together for like 3 years.
I don't really think it was that hard of an adjustment, do you?
No,
it was really easy. We were basically already living together before, but it was just inconvenient because we'd switch houses every night.
if you're actually in a compatible relationship with someone, I don't think it's hard to move in with them.
Okay, next up, do you want kids?
6 or 7 probably.
Yeah, I think we want kids, but not right now. We gotta get a house first, really, is the thing.
Yeah, I ideally want to have 4 kids. Allie wants to have 2. Who knows though? We're a couple years away from that for sure.
Okay, and then the next question, do you want a second dog?
I think so, but it's a lot when you have a dog at first. It is a lot. And like, I don't know if I'd rather like spend the energy on a second dog, or like in 4 years, maybe we go for kids.
We'll go for kids.
I feel like kids before a second dog.
I'm saying house, kids, then second dog. Like, we need to know that we can do these other things before we commit to a second dog.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, those were the questions they had for both of us, unless you have anything else to add.
I don't know, I can't think of anything. I'm a little YouTubed out today, folks, because we've been doing a lot of stuff.
We released an episode of the podcast earlier today, so if you don't listen to the podcast, check it out. I'll link it up here.
Link right here, link on
There's a link somewhere in the vicinity.
All right, George, we gotta get out of here, boy. We gotta get out of here, boy.
All right, back to the real star of the show here. Moving on to nutrition questions. Do you like the taste of water? Well, I personally am not a big fan of the taste of water, but when I have delicious filtered water from Aquasana, it doesn't taste or smell like anything but just pure bliss. Aquasana is the sponsor of this video, and they offer filtration systems that provide maximum contaminant reduction while leaving beneficial minerals. The brand's products are created with the environment in mind. All of Aquasana's filter components are engineered for minimal waste. I have been using the clean water machine, which was easy to set up and instantly transforms ordinary tap water into clean, extraordinary water at the push of a button. Traditional pitcher filters use gravity to slow trickle water over filter granules, but Aquasana's clean water machine uses power for super fast and effective filtration, delivering an 8-ounce glass of clean filtered water in only 8 seconds. Honestly, there is a noticeable difference in taste from tap water. It just tastes very pure. Some water has a taste, this does not. It's perfect. So yes, I love the taste of water as long as it's Aquasana water. Start drinking cleaner, healthier water. Scan the QR code or click the link in my description to get 55% off all systems $49 and up plus free shipping. And thank you Aquasana for sponsoring this video. How do you get past the thinner is faster thoughts? For me, this was totally a case of I had to commit before I believed. So it was action before thought. I fully still thought that thinner would be faster when I started ED recovery, but I committed to it, and over time, I have been able to actually get faster than I was before. And so I've proved it to myself that it's possible. And another thing that helped me was like researching and seeing other runners that have been able to do that. It's definitely one of those things where you might not believe it at first, but you just have to commit. Another question was, how do you push yourself to fully commit to recovery? And I definitely got backed into a corner before I fully committed. I was getting so many injuries. I was literally unable to train or compete. And I love running so much that it was worth it to me to recover at that point. Hopefully you don't have to get to that point before you choose recovery. I think the biggest thing that can push people to recover is to know that it's not if, it's when. This will stop being effective for your running, for your life, for the sense of control you have. It's not a matter of if it will, but when it will. So you might as well start recovery before that happens, because the sooner you commit, the easier it will be. Next, did you experience a plateau or a decrease in performance from recovery, or was it just a steady improvement? No, I definitely had a plateau. There were basically 3 years where I was plateauing or running a little bit worse until last year when I finally had a big breakthrough and was able to run a PR and win a race and go to the Olympic trials. So it definitely is a test of patience, because during those 3 years of plateau, I was getting injuries too. So at times it felt like
I am just here to say that real men don't real men don't wear shirts. I feel like your audience was just starting to kind of like me, but you're probably talking about serious stuff right now. But now they hate.
It was such a serious question.
I'm sorry, audience. I know that I've been coming off like a good guy, but I gotta come off like a douche for a little bit. Ugh. 2 push-ups. Yeah. Now that you guys hate me again, let's work on 2025 being the year that Allie's audience starts to like me a little bit more.
All right. Thank you for that really valuable input that you added here. All right. Out, boys. Out. Out. Just wants to be the star of the show, you know? So it was really hard to believe that recovery was doing anything for me, but like having that patience is what allowed me to eventually actually improve and like have 2 years now of consistent training without injuries. Just takes time. What do you eat and the timing before workouts? I like to eat oatmeal before most workouts, oatmeal with banana and some protein powder topped with honey and cinnamon. I usually try to eat it an hour and a half before I work out. And on big workouts, I'll have bicarb 2 hours before the workout starts. So an hour before warm up. Long run fueling tips for college athletes. I remember in college, no one on the team ever fueled during long runs, which is kind of obscene to think about. My tip would be try to take a gel 45 minutes in and then every 30 minutes after that. It'll help so much with feeling good during your long run and also being able to recover off of it, because you're so busy during college. Like if you get into a deficit, it's really hard to be able to recover from it. Biggest mindset shifts for recovering from an ED: instead of putting the mental energy I put into restriction, put it into recovery. So being like, I am able to be this very determined, disciplined person. So let's be determined and disciplined for recovery instead of restriction. And then another big shift was seeing it as like, I need energy to be able to perform, and not seeing a lack of performance as having too much food, but seeing it as a lack of food. So it was really just flipping everything. Full 180. All the thoughts, turn them around, and now they're different and new. How do you deal with the hardship of seeing yourself gain weight even if you know that you needed to do it? This is something for me, I think it's best to like not think about that. Try to body check and weigh yourself and like scrutinize your body as little as possible. It's best to just think of it conceptually as like, I know that I need to fuel myself more and I need to give my body what it asks for, and just like be okay with that. Not putting like concrete numbers or like measurements or anything to go with it, I think helps so much. Did you ever have your period and lose it during recovery? I did. I had it for about 8 months and then I lost it for 2, and during those 2 months I got injured. So I don't think that that's a coincidence. I think that obviously having a period is a sign of having enough energy and not being in a deficit, and when I did lose it, I got injured because I didn't have the energy to recover properly. Do you like the taste of water? Well, I personally am not a big fan of the taste of water, but when I have delicious filtered water from Aquasana, it doesn't taste or smell like anything but just pure bliss. Final question for the nutrition section. What is your favorite burrito spot in Boulder? I left this question in because I don't have one right now, and it's honestly tragic because I think burritos are my favorite food. So if you're from the Boulder area or know it well, please let me know what a good burrito spot is because I need that. Now on to personal questions. Of all the ways you create, like Instagram, YouTube, podcast, what's your favorite? Don't tell Instagram, but it's YouTube. I really love long form content on YouTube. I think it does such a good job of allowing creators to show their actual personality. And I also invest so much time into my videos that I really feel connected to them and I feel connected to the audience. What are you most proud of? It's definitely that I was able to recover and continue running and work through that and come out the other side successfully. Recovering in general, no matter what state of your life you're in or if you're an athlete or not, is so hard. Confronting it and doing it publicly was really hard. I didn't know what was gonna happen, and so the fact that like it did work out in the end, not that like this is the end or anything, I'm proud of it because it's definitely the hardest thing I've ever done. What is your plan for work/income when you aren't running anymore? Oh, there were so many questions about my future, what I'm gonna do, what's happening. I don't know. I'm just trying to enjoy running while I do have it. I don't know when it will end or when I'll stop running PRs or anything. So I just want to make the most of it right now. I'm hoping that I'm building like my resume and my presence online enough that there will be opportunities when I'm done. I'd love to commentate or coach or work in marketing for a big company or something, but I don't technically have any qualifications for any of that. So yeah, I'm hoping that it all works out in the end, but I really don't know what I'm gonna do. How do you deal with comparison? This is something that's really hard for me. I used to fall down such deep comparison holes, and I still do sometimes. Ironically, for me saying this, one of the biggest things I can do is just like get off social media, literally not be constantly comparing myself to photos and videos of other people, especially runners. Yeah, like sometimes I can look at that and be completely fine, and other times I look at it and it sends me down a spiral. So just like knowing those moments when it starts to spiral and just shutting it down. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? This is a future question. I don't know. I really hope that I'm doing the same thing I'm doing now, sharing my story, running. Hopefully I'm a marathoner. That would be great. Favorite color? Green. Where have you always wanted to travel? I have always wanted to go to New Zealand. It just looks so beautiful and peaceful and wonderful. So if there are any races in New Zealand or New Zealand race directors that want to have me out, like please, I want to go to New Zealand. Do you have any hobbies other than running? I love reading. I love walking Georgie. I enjoy baking and cooking. I do enjoy some journaling and writing, which I do sometimes. I don't know. I'm trying to find more hobbies. I guess video editing, does that count? A few more running questions before we move on to questions about my younger self. First off, would you do a day in the life in college? And this person meant it as like a video pretending that I'm in college and showing what a day in the life was like then. And I would actually love to do this. So let me know if that would be a video you want to see because I think it would be fun to make. Next up, can you go through your shoe rotation? Right now for easy runs, I have Brooks Glycerin and the New Balance 880s. And then for most of my workouts, I wear the Nike Vaporfly 3s. For some longer extended workouts and like the half marathon race, I wear the Nike Alphafly 3s. And then for spikes are the Nike Dragonfly. Will you ever attempt a 100-miler? Yes, I definitely think I will. Like I want to move to the marathon at some point and then to ultras at some point. Like I want to do it all. I want to run really far and try every distance there is to try. So I definitely do want to do one someday. I also just wanted to shout out Dan Blackman because I was asked to do that. It's simple to do. Dan, if you're out there, just shout out. What's the weirdest place you've ever gone to the bathroom on a run? This was right before my first ever 5K at the indoor track at University of Washington, the Dempsey, there's like a door right behind the start line for the 5K. Right before the race started, I had a sudden urge to poop, so I went like out that door into a dark parking lot and just pooped on the ground, on the pavement. Yeah. Is there a lot of beef in the running world behind the scenes? I feel like there isn't. The biggest thing is the running world is a little bit incestual, so runners will get with some runners and then other runners, and there's like a lot of crossover, and maybe that creates a little bit of beef. When did you discover your passion for running? I'd say it started like pretty early, like 2nd grade. I did a little Hershey's track meet, and then also like doing the mile in PE and being able to beat the boys was so fun. So I always loved it, but I didn't really get serious about it until midway through high school, because till I was probably 15 or 16, I thought soccer was gonna be the sport that I specialized in, but then I eventually gave into running, you know, distance running. I just decided that was the way for me. Tell us about NXN 2014. Would you make a video about that? I won NXN when I was in high school my senior year, and honestly I would love to make a video about it. If people want to watch that, let me know if that's a video you want to see. I will talk about it in extreme detail. How much did you run as a teenager, and what did your training look like? I just trained with the high school team and didn't really do anything extra. I would say that my mileage probably ranged from like 25 to 45 miles a week most of the time, but we were doing like 3 hard workouts a week, so it was pretty intense. Final question for the younger self part of this video: what are 3 things you would have done earlier in your career to make you less injury prone? And the first one, of course, is just eat enough. I had an eating disorder when I was younger, and that's like the biggest reason why I have been injury prone in the past. Next would be do more strength training at a younger age. I did strength train when I was younger, but I didn't really lift weights that much. And then the third thing would just be become more well-versed in cross training and see it as like a really viable way to build running fitness. I cross trained starting in college, but I didn't really do it at all in high school, and I think if I had, I wouldn't have put running mileage on a pedestal so much in college and tried to push my mileage higher and higher. And finally, to close out the video, let's do a few Georgie questions for the real ones that stayed to the end. How and when did you get Georgie? I really wanted a mini dachshund because I was on a hike once and saw a couple that had a baby miniature dachshund. I thought it was the cutest dog I'd ever seen, so I researched breeders near Seattle and I found one in Twisp, Washington. I got on a wait list, and eventually there was a litter with availability. Spencer and I chose Georgie together, and then we went and picked him up, and this was June of 2022, I believe. He was just absolutely adorable and such a color from the start, and there's actually a whole video of us picking him up. So watch that if you're really a Georgie fan. And finally, will Georgie do another mile time trial? I think he would enjoy it. Like, he loved the first one, he wanted to keep going, but we'll have to find a way for it to be like in a really safe environment, because in that time trial we were in a retirement community and there was like no traffic and we were just able to go down the road and it was super safe. But it's not as easy to do that in Boulder. Like, I don't want there to be cyclists or people that we're getting in the way of while our miniature dachshund is just absolutely ripping. Hopefully, but we gotta figure out the right situation to do it in. And that is all the questions that I have. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're still watching, please subscribe. I would appreciate it so much. And that's all for now, folks.